Well, hi there. Good morning or good afternoon or whatever time of day it happens to be. Welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be making Chinese hot and sour soup. I'm also talking about things that happened in the year 1492 and maybe some later coincidental items that happened as a result of Columbus's voyage to the New World. Today's recipe is slightly more complicated than some of the things I make here just because there's a couple items you might not have. Black wood ear mushrooms, you can omit those, though they're yummy and available on Amazon if you can't find it at the grocery store. Black vinegar also, but you can substitute rice wine, white, or cider vinegar for that. So let's go ahead and get started on the soup. Okay, so here we go. I've got some mushrooms. I'm going to brown off just a little bit in some sesame seed oil, and we're going to add some chicken to this for the hot and sour soup. And you don't got to do any of this browning off actually, but I like just to do it a little bit and then put some of the soy sauce in there so that it gets a little bit of the soy flavor in the chicken. All right, a little more. The sesame oil. Here we go, sesame oil. And mushrooms, we get a lot of water in them. That's the reason I like to put them in there. And let's put some soy sauce in. I got some green onions here too. So let's throw a few of those in there. Just say we have a couple different kinds. Some that are slightly toasted and others that are not. Okay. Well, that's sitting there. Turn that heat off. Now, I have a cornstarch slurry here. And in my pot, I've got, a couple cups of chicken broth that I made from a store-bought pre-cooked chicken. Still works pretty well. So this cornstarch slurry, we're putting in with that. I'll tell you something that works well with in a minute. So let's put our chicken and mushrooms in there. All right. So let's get some heat going underneath this thing. You can see the cornstarch really lightens the color up. So, in order to darken it, I'm going to use some dark vinegar. And it's the vinegar that makes this sour. So, you might want like a third of a cup, maybe even. And we'll go with some soy sauce also. I have some dark soy sauce, but I'm almost out of this soy sauce. So I want to use that up first. Also, it's good to put a little more sesame oil in there, because that helps make it good. Now, what makes hot and sour soup hot is white pepper. White pepper is simply finely ground black pepper. But because of the, depending on how hot you like it, put as much as you want. But stays in suspension with the cornstarch. Much better than just falling to the bottom. All right. And let's see, we were going to talk about 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Well, there was a couple things that happened that year. So, importantly, in January of 1492, Malaga fell, the Alhambra, the last of the Islamic sultanates, caliphates, fell to the Spanish, Castile and Aragon. And that was a big deal, because then that freed up, the caliphates had been ruling, or at least fighting, with the Spanish for nearly 800 years. So that freed up money and people. And that helped get Columbus, after he got turned down by everybody else, to get sponsored by Spain, because they had free time, money, resources in their hands. So that is the hot and sour soup. So the final touches for the soup, we're adding the black wood ear mushroom and swirling a scrambled egg, that is a raw scrambled egg, into the soup. Unfortunately, I forgot quit recording before I did that. So you need to know that, and here's a picture of it to see what it looks like when it's done. Now, traditionally, chicken isn't included. It would be bean curd, but I find bean curd doesn't really keep very long, so I prefer the chicken. And also, usually you have bamboo shoots. I like the bamboo shoots, but really they don't have any flavor. They're just for texture and look. And so if you don't have them, it's not any big deal to omit them. So on to the finish up about 1492. So as we all know, Spain went on to extract vast quantities of silver and gold from Central and South America, especially Peru and Bolivia. But, for all the talk of all this silver and gold and, all we learned about the Spain conquering the New World and all that, they had a very short reign as an actually Spanish-ruled empire. After Ferdinand and Isabella passed on, the kingdom went to her daughter, Joanna, who happened to marry a Habsburg. He happened to be the head of the Habsburgs eventually, Charles I, who was also the Holy Roman Emperor and Archduke of Austria. And then Joanna went mad. So effectively, Charles got control of the kingdom, and when all this wealth flowed in, most of it just continued on to the rest of the Habsburg Empire, and did not enrich Spain. To further hamper things for Spain, in 1492, they also kicked out the final Muslims, and they went for Jews too. So they got rid of a lot of people who were adding some wealth to their economy, and it took a long time for that to recover. So all that ended up hindering Spain's progress, though of course they were an important nation and world power for many years to come. But I think from that point on, they were sort of doomed to a eventual long slide. There is one particular unique thing that you would never associate that I think is really interesting, is that has to do with the Mughal Empire, which was over in India and Pakistan and Afghanistan, at least a large part of India. And the Mughal Empire was really named after the Mongols because they were descended from Tamerlane, who was part Mongol, and so that's a bastardization of Mongol. But these people had they had a lock on the Near East spice trade, and because they had such a great empire, they didn't need anything. So when the Europeans came to them and said, "We'd like some of your spices, what do you need?" They said, "You've got nothing we want." And they said, "Unless you got silver and gold." And so for quite a while, the Europeans had to go without these spices they desired so much. But eventually, all this gold and silver, especially the silver, rolled in from the New World into Spain and then distributed across the continent. And suddenly, the Europeans had the means to purchase these spices. Well, now what was already a wealthy kingdom there in India became vastly wealthy. So wealthy that in 1631-32, the grandson, I believe it was, of Akbar the Great, I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is, can't, but he, when his wife died, he was so fabulously wealthy, he was able to build a giant grand mausoleum for his wife. And we know that today as the Taj Mahal. So had the economics in the world not changed because of the founding of, or the discovery of the New World, we never would have had a Taj Mahal. Such an odd thing to have resulted from Columbus's voyages of discovery in 1492. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed my talk, and hopefully you enjoy your hot and sour soup. And so thank you so much for visiting with me. And a couple of the topics we got coming up are the Windsor family name from the House of Windsor in England, and a real trial of a wolf man, and a bunch of other stuff. So hopefully you'll come back, and I'll see you soon.